mynews.studio.
A single antibody is changing the way we think about childhood leukemia survival. Could this mean chemotherapy might be replaced, or at least used less?
Today is June 21st, 2025. Let's get into the major news. There's a new global clinical trial where adding blinatumomab to standard chemotherapy raised 3-year survival rates for kids with B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia from 87% to 96%. That's a big jump in a short time. What's driving this?
The main factor is blinatumomab, which is a monoclonal antibody. It guides the immune system to attack leukemia cells directly, rather than relying only on chemotherapy. In a study led by Seattle Children's and Sick Kids Toronto, this approach cut the risk of relapse by 61%. Not just a small improvement, it's a significant shift in outcomes.
So does this mean blinatumomab is about to become the go-to treatment for kids with BL?
That's likely. The evidence is strong enough that many think it will soon be standard care. But it's important to see this as part of a bigger movement. Treatments are now more targeted and less toxic than before.
And what about adults or people facing tougher forms of leukemia? Is progress happening there too?
Yes, definitely. For example, in Manchester, researchers are testing a drug called NX-5948, sometimes called a degrader, in chronic lymphocytic leukemia. This is especially for patients who've relapsed or whose cancer resists other treatments. Rather than just blocking the proteins that drive cancer, NX-5948 actually removes them, using the cell's own protein disposal system.
That's a pretty big change. But does it really work for people who've tried everything else?
Early signs are promising. Some patients are getting normal blood test results for the first time in years, with only minor side effects. But it's early days, so we'll need more time and larger studies to be sure.
Are there other new drugs getting attention right now?
Yes, quite a few. In China, for instance, olverembatinib just received breakthrough therapy designation for Philadelphia chromosome-positive ALL, which is a very aggressive type. There's also revumenib, an oral drug for KMT2A rearranged leukemia in infants and young children. And we're seeing new combinations like azacitidine, venetoclax, and magrolimab being tested for acute myeloid leukemia.
With all these new names, what really sets these therapies apart from older treatments?
A couple of things. First, these drugs target the core genetic or molecular causes of leukemia, not just the symptoms. Second, they either use the immune system or the cell's internal machinery, like monoclonal antibodies or those degrader drugs, instead of just using high doses of toxic agents. And early results show fewer serious side effects, though we still need long-term data.
Are these new treatments likely to be available to everyone soon?
That's a complicated question. Blinatumomab is close to being widely used. Others are still in trials. It takes time for regulatory approval and for healthcare systems to adjust. And then there's the challenge of cost and making sure patients in low and middle-income countries can access them.
So what's being done to speed up the process?
Regulators are working together more closely than before. They're sharing data, lining up standards, and breakthrough therapy designations are helping to move things along. But making these drugs affordable and available is still a big challenge. It's going to take continued international cooperation and funding.
Why does this story matter so much, beyond the technical side?
Leukemia is still a leading cause of cancer deaths around the world. These advances could save many lives, but maybe just as important, they show what's possible when researchers and countries join forces. The next step is making sure the benefits reach everyone, not just a select group.
And as these therapies roll out, will they keep working over time? Will they help all patients or just specific groups?
That's what ongoing trials and real-world evidence are for. We need to follow patients long-term and see how well the results hold up across different populations.
So to wrap up, new treatments are changing leukemia care. Survival rates are improving, but there are still questions about access and long-term effects.
That's right. Things are moving quickly, but there's still work to do.
Thanks for joining us as we explored the latest in leukemia research and what it could mean for patients everywhere.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it for free.